Are you able to understand your emotions? Are you able to control your emotions? Are you able to gauge how other people feel? Are you open to other people's feelings? These are the questions that lead to the identification of a unitary intelligence that was needed to process emotional information, which is emotional intelligence or EQ. Daniel Goleman's book, Emotional Intelligence, the author quotes the 5 main domains of emotional intelligence, coined by Peter Salovey. Knowing one's emotions, managing emotions, motivating oneself, recognizing emotions in others, and handling relationships. As each of these domains are increasingly important in our interconnected work life and personal journeys, managers, educators, and entrepreneurs are more than ever understanding the value of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence defined, otherwise known as emotional quotient or EQ, is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways, to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. Emotional intelligence. Study shows that people with high emotional intelligence have greater mental health, exemplary job performance, and more potent leadership skills. Emotional competencies are not innate talent, but rather learned capabilities that must be worked on and can be developed to achieve outstanding performance. With that, our objectives is to inculcate respectful understanding between colleagues in a workplace with different emotional capabilities, to know the importance of understanding one's emotional intelligence for ourselves, others, and for the organization. To know the key skills needed to build positive and trustworthy workplace environment. For decades, researchers have studied the reasons why a high IQ does not necessarily guarantee success in the classroom or the boardroom. By the 1980s, psychologists and biologists, among others, were focusing on the important role other skill sets needed to process emotional information, playing in promoting worldly success, leadership, personal fulfillment, and happy relationships. In 1990, psychologist John Mayer, now at the University of Hampshire, and Peter Salovey of Yale, theorized that a unitary intelligence underlie those other skill sets. They coined the term emotional intelligence, which they broke down into 4 branches. 1. Identifying emotions on a non-verbal level. 2. Using emotions to guide cognitive thinking. 3. Understanding the information emotions convey and the actions emotions generate. 4th, regulating one's own emotions for personal benefit and for the common good. As a science reporter for the New York Times, Goleman was exposed to Mayer's and Salovey's work and took the concept of emotional intelligence a step further. In his eponymous book from 1995, he argued that existing definitions of intelligence needed to be reworked. IQ was still important, but intellect alone was no guarantee of adeptness in identifying one's own emotions or the emotional expressions of others. It took a special kind of intelligence, Goleman said, to process emotional information and utilize it effectively, whether to facilitate good personal decisions, to resolve conflicts, or to motivate one and others. Emotions. Emotion is a natural instinctive state of mind, deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others. There are positive emotions and negative ones. It consists of subjective experience, behavioral responses, and physiological responses. The three key elements of emotion. Subjective experience. While experts believe that there are a number of basic universal emotions that are experienced by people all over the world, regardless of background or culture, researchers also believe that experiencing emotion can be highly subjective. While we have broad labels for emotions such as angry, sad, or happy, your own experience of these emotions may be much more multidimensional, hence subjective. Physiological responses. If you've ever felt your stomach lurch from anxiety or heart palpitate with fear, then you realize that these emotions also cause strong physiological reactions. Many of these physiological responses you experience during an emotion, such as sweaty palms or racing heartbeat, are regulated by the sympathetic nervous system. Behavioral response. The final component is perhaps one that you are most familiar with. The actual expression of emotion. We spend a significant amount of time interpreting the emotional expressions of the people around us. Our ability to accurately understand these expressions is tied to what we psychologists call emotional intelligence, and these expressions play a major part in our overall body language. Research suggests that many expressions are universal, such as a smile to indicate happiness or a frown to indicate sadness. Sociocultural norms also play a role in how we express and interpret emotions.